It's time for Try Wizarding Secrets Part 2. I'm Professor Vocus, and this is Harry Potter Wizards Unite.
Hello, Professor. I didn't see you there.
This event runs from January 26th to February 2nd, Groundhog Day, Tuesday to Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time to 11 a.m. Pacific time, whatever that is in your local time, as per normal with all these events. This hasn't changed anything. Also, as per usual, there will be 5 brilliant foundables that we'll be looking for, 2 of them in the overworld map, 1 of them from fortresses, 1 of them from port keys, and then 1 from a task reward. At the end of the 4th set of tasks, you'll be rewarded the fragment for it, and we'll talk about it. The first 2 foundables are the Marauders map and Moaning Myrtle. Both of them are going to be the purple beamed foundables that will be the event foundables available throughout the whole thing, and you'll find them on the overworld map. Both take 20 fragments to place their image, as is usual for those foundables, and you should not place those images until you get to the 4th set of tasks, and we'll talk about it when we get there. The Mermaid Stained Glass will come from event port keys. They are a guaranteed drop. You need 5 fragments to place that image, and if you do decide to walk port keys or are able to walk port keys, I wouldn't place that image either. Save it until you get to the 4th set of tasks. The Rainbow Bath Taps only take 1 fragment to place, and the only way to get that fragment is as a reward from finishing the 4th set of tasks. So when you get that, you'll be able to finally place that image. And lastly, we have the Golden Egg. It takes 3 fragments to place it, that image, and they're available in fortresses using the Brilliant Event Runestones. And this is not a 100% drop. Based on which level of chamber you're in, that's going to give you a better chance. We've talked about this before. Ruins 1 gives you a 50% chance if you use a Brilliant Runestone to get one of these fragments to drop. You get a little family experience too, as well as your other rewards. All the way up to Dark 5, which is 100%. And then it just scales from there to there, from 50 to 100. It just scales up. As you get higher, you have a greater chance. Nothing has really changed about the bundles that get offered in the store in Diagon Alley during this. Just don't forget to get your complimentary gift during this, which is going to be the Tonic for Trace Detection Ingredients and Spell Energy. The other ones have potions and other things, but you can go check that out. Nothing of consequence, really. On to the tasks themselves. As per usual, the first one is to collect 2 ingredients or portmanteau off the ground. Literally just pick them up. Energy does count, as I always mention to you, and you will get 2 snowdrop for that, which are useful for extimulo potions, which you do have to use in the bonus tasks. So if you need to start brewing them now, you potentially could, but maybe hold off because there's a later task where we're going to need to brew. Next up is to use Tonic for Trace Detection 2 times. You get 2 Rem blood for that. Now keep in mind, this isn't to brew it, it's just to use it. So you could brew them now, you could already have them in your inventory and just use the tonics, and you just need to use 2 of them, which is kind of a bummer because you're going to have to use 1 and wait through that duration before you can get to the next one. So it already time gates you. You won't be able to burn through it too quickly, because you'll have to wait for that one to finish, and as soon as you start the next one, then you can actually kick into completing this task and move on to the second set. Last is to return 12 Brilliant Marauders map. It gets you 2 strong extimulo potions. The Brilliant Marauders map is one of the event foundables. You should see purple beams everywhere, and you just need to get 12 of them. Now, I will start to warn you now, because we have to get family experience and get runestones for this event, don't go to your registry during this time. After you get the 12, and we'll hopefully move on to the second set of tasks, just make sure you don't go visit your registry. If you do all that, you're of course going to get some experience and energy and stuff, but 2 restricted section books is going to be really the main reward out of this. In addition to the 50 family experience you see, which is another reason not to go to the registry, because 50 family experience, that alone right there is 1 1/4 runestones towards something that's coming up in the second set of tasks. Moving on to the second set of tasks, the first thing you need to do, return 20 foundables. This literally can be anything. It doesn't even have to be event foundables, although I'll recommend it based on the third thing in this second set of tasks, if that makes sense. But you get a dawdle draft for that. Next up is to use Master Notes 6 times. You get 4 Bitterroot for that. This is why I say keep that snowdrop and don't start brewing until you get to here. You almost kind of want your potions clear at this point so you can start brewing the quickest potions. So probably extimulos, I would recommend probably the most. Healing potions are short too, but you don't need them later on, and you will need some extimulos later on. So unless you have a bunch of ready, go ahead and start brewing 4 regular extimulos just so you can enter the master notes on each of them. Honestly, you're going to have to go through all 4, and then you're going to have to do 2 more. So this actually does time gate this a lot. The only thing that would speed it up is to either pay coins to finish out those potions quicker so you can enter new master notes. You could do it in no time just by finishing the potion immediately, or renting a cauldron, which at least allows you to have 2 master notes entered at once and everything will finish a little bit faster. But for me at least, I'm just going to go through the 6 and just know that when I get to this task, I'll probably just stop playing for that day and just enter master notes, and when I finish those, like the next day, I can move on to task 3. The last task is to collect 6 brilliant Triwizarding Secrets runestones to get you 1 dark detector. This is actually one I really don't like this task. I feel like they should take it out just because of how it ends up being implemented. So to get a runestone in the Brilliant Family page, once you rank up, and it's 40 experience to rank up for family experience, we got 50 rewarded in the last step, and you can see in the rewards in this step, it's going to give us 75, the purple symbol there. So although the 75 is going to come too late, we have to do this before then. So every time you get 40 experience, you rank up in this family, the Brilliant Family, and you get a runestone. So we need to do that 6 times. So 6 times 4, 240 family experience. How do you get experience? Placing images, which we're trying to hold on to for the 4th set of tasks, or returning foundables from the event, or going into fortresses and getting fragments of the fortress fragment will actually get you 10 family experience each time. So it's just something we're going to have to build up to. And what I talked about in the first set of tasks is just if you don't open up the registry, then you can actually build up a ton of family experience from returning those brilliant Marauders maps, as well as any of the other brilliant foundables you return in step 1. Is you're just going to build up family experience, and then when you go visit the registry page, it's just going to give it to you, all of you, en masse, which means when it does, it'll just rank you up, maybe 2, 3. A lot of times by the time I get to this, based on the previous step, I'll end up getting about 4 rank ups. I will have gained that much family experience, in addition to the 50 you get rewarded for finishing the first set of tasks. And I'll get 4 runestones right there, which means I'm already well on my way to finishing this. If I had opened it during the first set of tasks and got all that, it means now I've got to still get 240 more, even though I've already gotten some. So just make sure you do not open the registry. Don't go into your registry on the Brilliant page during this time. Once you do all that, you are going to get 3 restricted section books, as well as some more family experience for the Brilliant event, Wizarding experience, and energy as usual. Moving on to the 3rd set of tasks, the first thing you're going to need to do is get 5,000 Wizarding experience, which is just regular experience that helps you level up, in Wizarding challenges, though, only from challenges. So you're going to have to go ride the night bus for this. And this shouldn't be too bad. If it was challenge experience, that would take a lot longer. But Wizarding experience, a little bit easier to come by. You do get a silver key for it. My recommendation here is just go to the higher chambers that you can. For me, at least, it's usually to go to the highest chambers I can solo quickly, because it's going to get me more Wizarding experience the higher chambers you do. And I can run them quicker without too much energy use. Now, if I see a Dark 5 available, a lot of times I'll jump in there, because Dark 5 or just the higher chambers really do give you a bigger chunk, and you will finish this quicker. Keep in mind, if you are on a Barufios, even though fortresses are not the most efficient way to get energy, if you are on a Barufios, this will actually double. So it will double the Wizarding experience, so you would actually finish this faster. The second thing you need to do is defeat 15 foes in Wizarding challenges, which gets you 4 Runespore eggs. Now, defeating the 15 foes, if you're doing the 5,000 Wizarding experience from the task above, you should have no trouble getting to 15. If you manage to hit 5,000 before you do 15, just go back in and solo some lower chambers, and you can knock out about, Ruins 2 will give you at least 2 foes right there, and you can just knock out 2 at a time, and that goes pretty quickly for most people, even newer players. Ruins 2 isn't too bad. And lastly is to return 15 Brilliant Moaning Myrtle, which is going to get you 3 strong Extimulo potions. Once you finish all these, you are going to get 5 restricted section books, as well as spell energy, family experience energy from the Brilliant event, and normal Wizarding experience. Moving on to the 4th set of tasks, the first thing is to earn 7,000 Wizarding experience from traces. Now this means, traces just meaning foundables out in the wild. Going into fortresses will not count toward this. Opening port keys will not count toward this. Placing images in the registry, even though it is a trace image you're placing, doesn't count. Literally, it's just returning traces. Again, a Barufios, doubling your experience would help this be finished faster. This type of thing, for me at least, is I definitely try to save my trace charms for these type of moments, because I'll put a Barufios on because I am not level 60 yet, so I still need the experience. But if I put a Barufios on and I see an emergency level trace and trace charm that, and based on what spawns off of that, including the clone of whatever I put on the trace charm on the emergency, that usually gets me huge chunks. And in previous episodes, that's definitely happened, where I almost had between 5 and 6,000 from just doing a trace charm and just getting those things. And then I had plenty of time after that to go ahead and get other things. Now, this was with the Barufios, keep in mind. So generally, you're just wanting to go after those high threat foundables here on a Barufios. If you're level 60, you can still throw Barufios out, even though it's meaningless at this point. That is going to get you 1 spell book for doing that, which I still am working on that combat adversary tree, so I'm always excited to get red spell books. Next up is to place 5 images on the Brilliant Triwizarding Secrets Registry page, and it gets you 1 spell book, the red books. This is the one that the title of my video is essentially regarding this. I don't know why they keep putting it in the 4th set of tasks. They put it in the bonus tasks, and I praise them for the fact that it was there where you could gather all the images on the page and then move on and then place all 5, which was great. It just showed you had done the work and you were just getting paid off for it. Where it goes wrong is that 4 of these images can be attained at this point through any work of yours. So the Moaning Myrtle and the Marauders map, both of them, you can just collect 20 fragments from the overworld map. You could run fortresses to get the golden egg. If you were able to, you could conceivably walk 5 porkies to get the mermaid stained glass. And then the last thing, the rainbow bath taps, is impossible to get at this point. So they want us to place 5 images, but they're only allowing us to get 4, which means we have to get one of those 4 again. The rainbow bath taps, if you look in the rewards, you can see you get rewarded that 1 fragment after you complete this step. So intuitively, it just doesn't make any sense. There's 5 foundables for this event, 5 images to place in your registry, and they want us to place 5 images, which anyone not playing this game would probably assume you're supposed to place 1 of each. But they've already made it where we literally can't place 1 of the images because they don't even give us the fragment, which is why in the bonus tasks it would work fine because they would reward us that fragment and we would move on. I've harped on this before, so I don't want to go too much further on it, so let's just talk about how to get it done. Go ahead and do the 4 we talked about. Do the 2 overworld map ones, the Marauders map and Moaning Myrtle. Get those 20 fragments. Don't place the image. Unless you are playing a ton, then honestly you could actually place the image and then rebuild up 20. That I leave to you, how much you play, if you've done these events before, or just figuring out about how long you're going to play and how long it takes you to get 20 fragments. You could actually place those images if you knew you were going to grind out 20 more anyway, so keep that in mind. But you'll have those 2 images hopefully coming into this set of tasks. Then the third one is fortresses. Go ahead and just run fortresses with the brilliant runestones you've been having to gather anyway, and go ahead and get those 3 fragments of the golden egg. And again, go ahead and save that so you can place it during this. And then the last thing is the port keys. The port keys, if you're not able to walk port keys, then you're going to have to do one of the other 3 multiple times, or 2 more out of those other images. But if you can walk port keys, try to walk 5 at this point. I would say if you put some port keys in right during task 1, even if you're not able to make it out of the house or out too much, even just walking around, I find that I'll end up walking some of these port keys, so you might be able to get through some of them. So anyway, my strategy is to do 1 of each, all of them, walk some port keys, have the fortresses, and have each of the other images ready, and then run fortresses. And I've said this every time I do these guides. Fortresses is usually the fastest way to do it, and you can just do it right at home, so it does make it more convenient. If you're not able to walk port keys, then my recommendation would be to run fortresses, get the golden egg again, and then run fortresses and get the golden egg again. That ends up being the fastest way to do it because it only takes 3 fragments. Keep in mind it's not an automatic drop, but you get it usually reasonably enough that you can run through some runestones, especially when we're in the second half of the event. If you ran the first half, you should have some runestones saved up and have enough to really just grind it out. You do get 1 spellbook for doing that, which of course I am happy about, but I'm not happy about the fact that they put this here. When they put it in the bonus tasks in previous events, I thought they had kind of figured this out and learned their lesson that it's a better way to do it, but here we are having it back. So I really feel like they need to make that adjustment for any future events. Last step is to collect 15 mysterious note pieces by returning brilliant traces, and it gets you 1 spellbook. Keep in mind, the first event had 2 brilliant foundables, and then this event has 2 brilliant foundables, all 4 which appear on the overworld map, and you're going to run into them. And you have a chance to get this mysterious note pieces from any of them, so it doesn't have to just be the Marauders map and Moaning Myrtle. Mad Eye, Moody's Eye, and the Goblet of Fire, brilliant, will also be out. Generally, I usually see them in lesser numbers, but they will be around, so any of those would also count toward this. Now, it's not a 100% drop rate, but for me, at least lately, it's been a higher rate. I usually get them pretty quickly. Keep in mind, as you return them, there'll be little bits of story text. Usually it's after the first note, the 5th note, and the 10th note, which is odd because at the 10th note, they pretty much are like, hey, we figured it all out. And then you still have to get 5 more. So from a gameplay standpoint, whatever, just get 5 more. But from a theming story standpoint, it really doesn't make any sense. And they should shift it so when they finish the 15, you finish all of them, they can say, we got it. If you finish all this, you're going to get 5 Defense Against Dark Arts books, 5 restricted section books. You're going to get that 1 fragment of the rainbow taps, some gold, and some spell energy. Moving on to the bonus tasks. Once you've completed the first 4 sets of tasks, these will obviously unlock for you. You can go to Diagon Alley. There is a bonus bundle that appears once you have unlocked the bonus task. Complete 10 wizarding challenges with 3 or more teammates to get you 2 witch sharpening potions. Keep in mind, I mention this every time, but 3 or more teammates means you and 2 other people do count. You don't need you and 3 people. So if you get in a fortress chamber and 2 other people join you in maybe a lower level chamber, and you see both of them join and you're trying to wait for 3 other people, they're doing it because they know it's 3 people. So if you have 3, just go in. Usually when people join right away during events like this, I know they're trying to complete this particular step, and I'll just join as well, of course, because I want to complete it. So 3 people meets this requirement. Next up, return 45 Brilliant Traces, any of the 4 we mentioned earlier for this event. It's going to get you 1 Potent Extimulo Potion. By the way, returning traces, for my newer players, returning traces is not getting them from a fortress or getting the fragments from port keys. It literally means on the overworld map, when you return just one of them by casting a spell correctly and you successfully return that foundable, it specifically means that, and they do have to be brilliant. Use 10 Extimulo Potions, any in wizarding challenges, get you 1 red spell book. Extimulo Potions, any meaning a regular, a strong, or a potent Extimulo will count for this, but you do have to use them in wizarding challenges, and I've talked about this in previous videos, that we don't want to use them in wizarding challenges. It's not as useful. It's probably the least useful space for me to use them. I would much prefer to use them against adversaries for sure, and on the overworld map, when I'm going against an emergency level I don't see a lot and I want to make sure I have a greater chance to get it, then I'm going to throw like an Extimulo at it. Maybe a strong Extimulo, but usually probably just an Extimulo. This is the reason why for the 6 master notes, if you didn't already have Extimulos ready, I said to go ahead and brew Extimulos because you're going to need them here. And I almost feel like using regular Extimulos because less resources for something a lot of us, we feel like we're just kind of throwing it away. Next up is win in your highest unlocked chamber, meaning in fortresses, probably the Night Bus for most of us. Silver key for that. Newer players, this just is the highest chamber it'll actually let you play. So, and whenever you beat that, then the next one will unlock, and that'll be your next one until you make it to Dark 5. A lot of us are on Dark 5, so just go run Dark 5 and win. In previous events, early on, it used to just say, do it, and you could even lose and have it meet the requirement, and they changed it to win pretty quickly after that. So now it is win. You do have to win in your highest unlocked chamber. You can't just go in and AFK. Last up is to cast 25 Great Spell Casts. This is going to get you some spell energy for completing that. Great spell casts. I want to make a whole video about just getting better at spell casts, and I am in the midst of creating it and kind of going over what I would want to go over. The general advice that, of course, is all over Discord and Reddit when people ask about this is practice, of course, with anything, but it's to go faster, and that is a very simple, it sounds like contrite to just say, oh, just go faster. It really does make a difference, though. Just for my base advice is just really start to move faster on those casts. The good thing is you do have to return 45 Brilliant Traces. So my guess is in those 45, I'm just hoping you can pull off at least 25. By the way, just so you know, when you do a great spell cast, you don't even have to return the foundable. You would get credit for it. So on one foundable, if you had, say, 3 great casts and then it departed on you, you still got 3 toward this number. So at least don't be discouraged when things get away if you're getting those great spell casts against it. If you complete all the bonus tasks, you will get the rewards you see right here. Of note are the 5 fragments of the Mermaid Stained Glass, which means you don't actually have to walk port keys to still be able to place that image eventually. You just wouldn't have that image to place in the 4th set of tasks. You would have to just continue to go through everything until you finish the bonus tasks and then go ahead and get those 5 fragments, which is enough to allow you to place the image so you can at least finish out that page for this event. Which is a change that they instituted a little while back that I am happy about. that if people can't walk port keys but still want to finish that page, at least they do reward you the fragments here. The only other main thing of note from the rewards is the 5 defense against dark arts books, which you could use for your SOS tree, or you could also potentially use them in the combat adversary tree. That covers everything you're going to encounter / need to do during this event, or have available to do during this event. I do feel like they're still putting the same formula on top of these events, and I really would like somebody at Portkey Games / Niantic / Warner Brothers Games, I would really like them to sit down and maybe be a little more creative with this, because we are kind of getting in a rut of the same things and making some of these small mistakes, like not putting the images in the bonus tasks. Or if you put it in the 4th set of tasks, and they have done this, or even in the bonus task, instead of having us get rewarded 1 fragment, they've actually done 2 different types of port keys, so we at least had the potential to get port key ones and still get everything by the time we needed to place the images, so we could place 1 of each image to meet that requirement. I'm fine with that. That solution too, I also thought was something they were going to use going forward, but here we are reverting right back to the old way of doing things. We do have a week to complete this, so take your time, enjoy it as much as you can, do the things that you can do. If you can get out, definitely walk those port keys. Remember to have 2 tonics ready to go right off the bat. Don't open your registry till the 2nd set of tasks, and hold on to your images, or at least have them ready to go on the 4th set of tasks. If you're someone that grinds a lot, definitely feel free to place those Moaning Myrtle and the Marauders map and then just rebuild back up. Just have them ready going into task 4 so you can place those images. Hope this guide helps you get the most out of this event. As always, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Nox.